Afternoon guys, just a quick one in today, no great shakes, it's just a Squier Strat. I don't know why the guy's having this set up or whatever. It's got a massive crack through here, right through the body, right up to the neck there. But he says don't worry about that, just set my guitar up and get it playing nice. That's what I'm going to do. Left-handed Fender Squier, is it a Squier Affinity? I don't know. Yeah, it's a Squier Affinity, no great shakes. So I'm going to do exactly what the guy wants. I'm going to set it up for just so it's playing nice, and what more can I do? So as you can see, it's left-handed. It does have this, I've only just seen it. He said don't worry about that crack on the back, just work through it. It has this crack through here. It's right up to the neck pocket there, right down, it is a crack, and it's right down the body there, so it's cracked all the way through. Personally, I'd repair that. I'd glue that, but he's not asked me to glue it, so I'm just going to leave it. And I'm going to do the setup, whatever he wants. He's having an 80 quid setup, intensive setup. A few frets need levelling here and there. I'm just going to whisk across with a fret rocker. You may as well see it. I'm going to do everything live on camera, as I like to do. So you're basically watching a live video right now. Let's just here you go, how's that for you? We'll get in there, grab a fret rocker, 4mm hex key for adjusting the truss rod, and I think I might have set this straight anyway. No, it's not quite straight. Just over straight with that, so let's go back a little. We now have a little bit of back bow in there, so let's go back again. Are we going the wrong way? Might be going the wrong road. No, that's as straight as we're going to get it. Tiny bit of relief, tiny bit of back bow this end, so not a perfectly straight neck. Just see how we are there. That's going to be pretty close. Let it settle a few more seconds, and that is now level. So I'm going to grab a marker pen, fret rocker, 4 sides, 1, 2, 3, 4, so we can check 3 frets at a time. The reason we check 3 frets at a time is if we get a rock we know one's high. So we're going to start here, straight away, and 1 high fret. I already knew the second one was high. It's a wrong pen, that one's dark, it's going in bin. Where's the bin? You go over there. Oh, I've not got one here. This one's got some ink in it. Hopefully there's no more than 5 because I've only quoted him 80 quid. Yeah, I think his frets are pretty okay, especially for a Squier Affinity. I get expensive guitars coming in, the frets are all over the place. If you get a Squier Affinity in, putting expensive guitars to shame, like this one is right now. A little bit of a high spot there. You have to ignore the sound of the kids playing outside. We've not had much good weather to play out in lately, so we're not going to hold that against them. So there's another one. So we've got 3 frets with high spots at the moment. Oh, that was terrible. Okay, that's 4. I will, however, hammer these down before I file anything. But I think these frets are pretty good. The problem with the fret ends on these, the bevels, they're really quite rough. These edges are really quite rough as well. But when it comes to level, these frets are pretty good. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 frets to work on, and that's it. And that is really, oh no, there's another one there. Okay. But that's 5 frets on a Squier. That is fantastic. So we're going to go with an intensive setup, 80 quid. Just check these ones again. And that really isn't too bad. So I'm going to spot level these. Spot level means I'm just going to level that way and I'm going to recrown. So I'm going to show you exactly what that means. Let's get the camera set again. I'm going to do it all. I'm going to run straight through. We'll have to ignore the noise of the kids outside. They're allowed to play. I'm going to grab my files. I'm going to be using my Swiss number 4 cut file, profiling file. I'm going to use 2 profiling files. I'm going to use my number 4 cut Valorb file. Number 4 cut being super smooth, but really sharp. Fantastic file this. I've got my Z file, Stumac Z file, for starting to rebuild the crown, and I've got my profiling file or another diamond file, crowning file for finishing off the crown. So it's the way I'm going to do it. So we're just going to check where we're high. On this one, for instance, from there to there. So we're just going to take the fretting hammer first. We're just going to slightly tap it back in. So make sure we're supported underneath. Got my fretting hammer, I'm going to use a nylon side and just tap it down, make sure it's seated correctly and just check again. And there you go, it doesn't even need filing up. So I'll check the one next to it now. All we're going to do with that now is it just wasn't seated right, that one. Just going to go across the top, just make sure it's nice and smooth across the top. Fret rocker again, and there you go, it's absolutely fine. That just needed tapping in, didn't need any work. So we're just going to go with the profiling file and just smooth over the top there. All we've done with that is knock it in, and that's that fret done. And we're just going to check the one next to it to make sure it's not altered anything there, which it hasn't, and that's fantastic. So we'll do exactly the same with this one. We're going to knock it back in. And we're going to check this one. Still high. So we are going to level this one. So we're going to take the leveling file and we're just going to hold the file steady. We're just going to go over the top and just follow the radius and let the file do the work. Nice and light. That's done. Again, profiling file. I'm just going to check. That's good. Check one back. That's good. Check one forwards. And again, that's fantastic. So that's those two done. Move on to these 3 at this end of the guitar. Clean your files. I'm not going to need the Z file here. Look at that, it's come off here, look. So again, support underneath. Then we're going to tap all 3 of these. We may just become a little bit unseated, that's all. So we're going to check this one first. Still high, but only very slightly high. So let's just go again with the file. That's nice. I think we'll find that that's just about right now. That's good. Check one back. Now that one seems to have come high, probably because I've knocked those in, that one's popped out a little. So we're going to knock this one next to it. So these frets are not being glued in. That one's high again, no, not that one in. So let's just tap that one back in again. Check them back. That's good. That's good. Check this one again. And that's seated better now. That one's still high. And that one's still high. So this one's fine. Just going to take that top off there. And this one's high on the far side. Let's just check where we are there. Feels pretty good. That one's high still. And this one's still high on the far side. Just take that in again. Let's have another feel. Still high. Still high. Does happen. That feels good. Go one forward. That's good. Check the ones we've just done. That's now nice. Nice. This one. Nice. Go back one. And that's it. We have all of the frets on our level. We're going to reprofile these three, or it's four, because I'll hit that one as well. And that is the frets all levelled. So we're going to polish all of those. That's what happens, look. Clean the files. Can now put the files away. So it's a 5 frets levelled in double quick time. The frets are now level along the whole length of the neck. We can move on to polishing. Like I say, the intensive setup. Don't take long to do these. This being softer fret wire, it's really, really easy to work. So what we're going to do is we're just going to cover the body. We're going to spray some mineral oil, you know it's lemon oil, on the neck. Just treat the wood and remove any grime because we're going to give us a good clean. We'll let that soak in 5-10 minutes. And while that's doing its thing, we're going to polish the frets just with some steel wool. So while that's doing its stuff, I'm going to grab some tape. I'm going to cover the pickups because I'm going to be using some steel wool to polish the frets. We don't want any of the filings getting into the pickups. Cover them up. And I know the filing's not going to even get anywhere near this far, but we're going to cover all 3 pickups. So we don't get a chance. I'm going to grab us some fingerboard protectors. Fortunately I have a few of these. Use this one for this end. Basically a piece of steel with a strip in there, and what we can do is we're not going to dig into the wood with the steel wool, but we can still polish the frets. I'm going to use this older stuff here, and this is great because I can just polish the frets like so without touching my fingerboard. Really, really easy. bring off any grime, any dead skin, sweat, what have you, any build up of crud. And my new ones I've just filed, polish them up as well. The good thing about using the diamond files I've been using is they don't scratch the frets that much. You can bring it out some steel wool like this. And also this is not going to touch the fingerboard, so we're not touching the oil. So that's still doing its stuff. Whether this video makes it out onto the YouTube channel or not, I don't know. It's a really simple setup. It may or may not, so I'll film it anyway. I'm saying these frets, these fret ends, they've not been rounded over or profiled at these edges, not been rounded over, so they are a little bit sharp, a little bit jagged. But it's a Squier Affinity, it's a cheap Squier. Let me see if this doesn't take long. I mean, at the end of the day, it's all about getting this guitar playable. That's all he wants. There you go, that's all done. So we can let this oil sink in 10-15 minutes now. Do its stuff. Once that's done, we'll wipe it all off, we'll clean the fingerboard up. We'll get some strings on it and we'll move on to the setup. Steel wool's at it, I'm going to chuck that, it's got oil all over it. And I'll come back soon. Moving on, we got the frets done, we got the fingerboard treated, we've polished the frets, we've restrung the guitar. I did have one saddle to repair. One of the threaded inserts or the screws for the saddle height adjuster had been stripped, so I put a new one in there. But I've got the strings, I've got everything set up, got the right amount of relief in my neck, I've got a decent height above the 12th fret, just a little bit higher than normal. That's because I'm doing the final thing. Now I've set the intonation on the saddles, I've set the radius at the bridge, and we need to cut the nut slots to the correct depth. And just as a quick summary, I measure about 0.3mm this side, 0.2 this, so that's the gap from the top of the fret to the bottom of the string. So I'm looking at about 0.3mm on the bass side, 0.2mm on the treble. These Squiers, they're always set very, very high, and they are ludicrously high. I've got about 1/2 mil to remove this side, so we're going to grab my set of Hosco files, nut slotting files, and then we're going to take, we're using a 1046 set on here, so I've got the 46, and we're going to cut into the nut. You keep it horizontal with the neck, and the trick with this is, don't go gung-ho, don't go mental, don't cut too much material away, because you'll end up replacing the nut, and that's time consuming and expensive. So make a few adjustments, reseat the string, tuner on, and you'll know you've cut if you've gone flat. There's still a good ways to go on that one, and what we're going to do is keep going horizontal, but when we get close to where we want to be, cut toward the tuner or the machine head, so it just angles over a little bit. Now the great thing about these files is they will cut a perfect U shape. It's not like some of the cheaper ones that will cut more of a V shape. These actual Hosco ones I used to use years ago, they're okay until you cut the thinner strings, the top strings, and they tend to cut more of a V shape. That's why I went and bought these. These will cut a perfect semicircle, right size for the string. and keep cutting and measuring. And this will make all the difference to a Squier guitar, because Squier guitars are not set up for professional players. And there you go, 0.3mm, listen. Just buzzing, so we've cut that one right, I can move on to the A string, the next one. We need to go a little bit lower than 0.3. And we've got a lot of material to remove from that one again. So what we're going to do is we're going to clean or wipe the file. That's a 46. Going to put it back in its pouch, put that one away, and we're going to go to the 36. I already know how much I need to cut from that one. I'm going to do exactly the same as we did with the last one. I'm going to move the string out of the way. I do believe this is a bone knot, it's cutting like bone. And same again with this. Take the 0.3 gauge, and we're looking for more of a buzz. We're not getting a buzz yet, so let's keep going. Wipe the file, go again. And like I say, this will make all the difference to a Squier, because these nut slots were cut really high. As long as you get the action right at the 12th fret, get the intonation set and the radius set at the bridge, and cut the nuts, get the right amount of relief, cut and do the nut slots last. This is going to play as good as anything, so long as the frets are level. And they are level. Lot more buzz there, so again that is perfect. So now we're going to change gauge or change height, and these middle two we're going to look at about 2.5, 2.4 on these two. So I'm going to get a 0.25 millimeters. I'm going to move on to the next string, which is a 26 gauge. I don't have a 26 file, but I do have a 28, so slightly wider, but it's the right one to use. So I'm going to crack on and get all of these done. Once they're all done, these strings will be nice and low above that first fret. And when we borrow an F, an F sharp or a G, we're not going to be playing a sharper note because we're pressing down more. It's going to be actually it's going to be perfect. We have a nice little action along the whole length, and this will play as good as any professional guitar. There we are, guys, and we are all done. And a really simple, basic setup on a basic, simple guitar. Looks fantastic with the bigger headstock, a la the 1977-ish era Fender Strats with the bigger headstock size on there. Lovely guitars these. They're nothing exceptional, but they are certainly very good. They're certainly very playable. But what we've done to make this better is we have lowered the action. We've set the right amount of relief in the neck, 0.25mm at the 7th fret. We have a nice low action of 1.5mm on the treble side, 1.75 on the bass side. We've set the radius on the saddles, we've set the intonation on the saddles, and we've cut the nut slots down nice and low, so we're just over the first fret there. Guitar plays really nicely. It's well set up. We did, however, level a few frets, which made it that we needed to go with an extensive setup or an intensive setup more than just a regular setup. We've also cleaned the fingerboard. We have levelled and polished the frets, and stuck a set of Ernie Ball 1046s on there. Nothing to do with the tremolo. All the electrics are working fine. The guitar is fine. It's a nice. It's a good starter guitar anyway. But with a professional setup, you are getting a really good quality guitar. This plays as good as anything. The neck's straight enough, bit of relief in there. We've set the pickup height correctly. But with a good setup, it certainly makes this guitar a much better acquisition. So always worth getting a proper setup on a guitar. Plays well, looks nice, and I'm sure it's going to please the owner. But that is it. It's all I'm doing today, just that one simple setup. It is Thursday evening. I've got Man U Liverpool on the TV behind me. I'm wrapping up for the night. I do have tomorrow off from Royal Mail, so I'll be in the guitar shop all day tomorrow, get a few done. But this one is finished, so let's just recap. Setup, fret level, proper setup, new set of strings, all done. Just before I do go, I need to remind you of my website, fretfriend.co.uk. Best place is Facebook, facebook.com/ng17. That's facebook.com/NGONESEVEN. I am Victor, I am your fret friend. And until the next time, as always, God bless you, be good to each other, and I'll see you in the next one.